morning. As the mob comes in. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Hopefully y'all had a good weekend. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Georgia. Good morning, Linda. Maha. Heaven. Sandy. Rise and shine. Another brand new day. Yes, it is, Sandy. Another brand new day. Hopefully everybody's doing well this morning. Good morning, Jamie and Zach. Alana. Alana, that's my little sister's name. Imagine that. Oh, girl, love your name. Deborah. All right. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody feeling calm today? Good morning, brother Kevin. I don't know who sent me this. Someone sent me something. Hope y'all watched the 5G cast this weekend. The 5G cast was awesome. Awesome. Who sent me that? This brother Tura. I want to take a look at that. How wrestling. WWF. Anyone grew up on wrestling? Did y'all watch wrestling as a kid? It's like the mainstream media. Because mobs they're more profitable. The great thing about a mob is you can get a mob to destroy its own home, its own house. You can get a mob to destroy anything. And the mob doesn't care. Once the emotions take over, it's gone. Right. Good morning, Rebecca. Wanda got links already. Other thing I want to talk about, I do want to touch on Venezuela and the shutdown. Let me see. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water because we're going to let our neighborhoods burn. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water because we're going to let the whole earth burn. We're going to let our nation burn. I'm so sick of y'all's 2020s. Let me see. Yes, all show, no substance, Susan. And we got to start demanding sustenance. We got to start putting our foot down. Demanding sustenance. No more rage and outrage. Start calling them out on it. I think this is our world. I think if we are not careful, we might lose a mother. We might lose it. We're not careful. Don't get me back on Plato and Solid. Get into that mob mentality. People upset for no damn reason, yelling and screaming, hollering in the street. Because anytime you get a mob together, after the mob is sufficiently angry enough and something's not changing, they start burning stuff down. It's like the emotions. Thank you for sharing, brother Oscar. Once the mob gets going, the mob takes on a mind of its own. And so it was interesting. I don't know what's the name of this brother. I forgot this brother's name. I want to show you he did a good TED talk on it. I'm going to look at a few minutes of it. Thank you for sharing, brother Glenn. Ty is sleepy, Ty, because you don't sleep, Ty. You're supposed to be sleepy. Good morning, Georgia. Thank you for sharing. Good morning, Dee Dee. Thank you for sharing. Ty, you don't sleep. That's the problem, Ty. You post videos at like 3 a.m. Sometimes I'm getting up, getting ready to go to work, eyes just open, 5 a.m. The whole nation's supposed to be asleep. Everybody in the beds waking up. The East Coast getting up, ready to go to work. The West Coast, they've been in bed for 5 hours, and here's Ty posting a video. Like, what the hell are you doing up at 5 o'clock? That's not a morning. 5? That's an age. 5, you're supposed to be asleep, but you're still kind of young. So I know young people do it. Good morning, everybody. Love and light, brother Kevin, love and light. Good morning, brother Augustine and sister Eileen on YouTube. I never get notified by Facebook when you're on. I know, Eileen, because I'm not popular. I don't say popular things. I can come on here. We go back to lying to each other if y'all want. I don't like lying. I think it's kind of good to just come on here and let's talk about some very truthful things. Good morning, Sister Lori. Good Monday, gown. Good rising. I've always despised professional wrestling. You did? Cannot stand to watch the fake crap, probably why I can't stand the government's theater either. You know what, Galen, I have to say as a child, I loved it. I loved it as a child. Oh man, you had Macho Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and the Junkyard Dog and Andre the Giant. All of our favorite characters, almost like a Donald Trump and a Barack Obama and a Bernie Sanders and a Hillary Clinton and a Chris Christie. They all get together. In the mind of a child, it's enjoyable, Gal. You watch them get together. They start throwing stuff, chairs, and start throwing countries, Venezuela, and they start making threats and shutdowns, and the kids, they fall in and they enjoy it. The only problem is, as a kid, though, nobody died. Like, that's the problem. As a kid, you just turn the TV off. It was over with. Nowadays, people dying. So we can't get off of Venezuela. But, you know, I have to say that I am very curious about this Venezuela thing. I'm wondering, thank you for sharing, Brother John. I'm actually really wondering why all the news is on Venezuela. Is anybody else seeing that? I mean, I only go to certain international outlets for my news, but the vast majority is all Venezuela. And it's not that Venezuela's not an issue. Venezuela is a big issue. This is what our government's always been up to, right? The big time colonizers. Thank you for sharing, Anna. They're big time New World Order globalists. That's what the right put Trump in to fight, was globalism, right? Colonization, New World Order. And his administration's not doing that. So obviously, once again, presidents don't run the country. You know, but so it's not to say that that's not a thing. It's not to say that that's not their MO. It's not to say that that's not what they're going to do anyway. It's to say, why do they want, anytime this, again, I don't trust your kings and your lords. Anytime, and the media is just one of their stooges. Anytime it's obvious they want the entire world to look this direction, to look at the left hand, it's because the right hand about to smack you upside. This is how it always goes. I always notice it. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is why you need like a hive mind. You need like real media. So you have fingers all over the planet to figure out what the hell don't they want us to see. Because they're doing something else. It's not that they don't want Venezuela. Hell yeah, Venezuela has coltan. I forgot all about that last week. Venezuela doesn't have oil. That's coltan. Coltan is in all your cell phones. Hell yeah, they need coltan. You know what they need coltan for? Not just for drones, but they need it for killer robots. All your small electronics have coltan. And there's no way. I mean, China and Russia are making major advances in Africa. Africa is getting sick of America because of damn Obama and his AFRICOM and all of that crap. And so they want them out, and they're doing deals with China and Russia. So America's got to find a way to make the killer robots. How else can they kill the Americans? How else can they get 5G out and have the robots swarm us? All right, I want to show you this. So, but that's the thing I wonder about. So if y'all run into anything that you find is interesting, anything that seems highly important that the news isn't talking about right now, I'd appreciate you sharing it with me. I'd appreciate you sharing it with anybody, because we never really know what's going on. I mean, half the time we come out here and we're guessing, right? We just look between the cracks and try to figure out what the king is not telling us. The kings and the lords. And then we kind of make a few jokes. A few jokes about the adults running around with the diapers wet. All right, this is what I want to show you. Check this out.
With me as I started producing for him was that when it comes to the audience, it doesn't really matter if they love a wrestler or hate them, as long as they feel passionately one way or the other. Business would be good. I want you to remember that. As long as the audience feels passionately one way or the other, business would be good. Now, one of the things I talked about in the book is professional wrestling. In fact, right here in Chicago, it was one of the first weekly network television shows back in the 1950s, the beginning of the television age. And it went from there to being the #1 local television show long before cable came around. In any city in the United States, professional wrestling was the #1 most watched form of content in any given market. Cable television came along sometime in the 70s, 80s, whenever it was. Professional wrestling became, and still is to this day, the most watched form of entertainment every single week.
Pause. Think about that. Doesn't matter if the audience loves or hates the wrestler, as long as they love or hate the wrestler. It doesn't really matter. They don't want to like them. They want the love. Why? Because you need the passion. Why? Because in passionate moments, we lose our ever-loving mind. You ever think about love and crimes of passion? When do you take someone that's highly intellectual? They could have degrees up the wazoo, could be the wisest, most intelligent farmer that never went to college. You give them a little bit of love in that heart. Put a little love in your heart. Get a little love in that heart. Get a little fearful of being hurt, that passion kicks in. And then you can make a mob. Another thing I was going to point out that he said, I think is phenomenal. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show a few minutes. And I'll post the link you can watch. I want you to watch the whole thing. This is homework for you. Absolutely. His wrestling went from nobody watched it. I used to wake up in the morning, Saturday morning cartoons. Y'all remember Saturday morning cartoons? Because cartoons didn't come on all day. We didn't have no damn cartoon channel. We had UHF and VHF. And damn it, if you was lucky, you had a whole lot of money. You had a big wooden box and with a glass front on it. And it had a big bowl thing. It's like a fish bowl. And if you were one of the wealthy families in here, I was one of the wealthy families. We had one of them in our living room. Damn it, after a while, we didn't had two. We didn't had a little color screen, you know, it's black and white. You put this little color screen in front of it and make everybody phase look like aliens, a little greenish. But anyway, Saturday morning cartoons, we'd get up, watch the cartoons. Wrestling came on, I don't watch that crap. And you go out and play. You know, you watch cartoons from 6 a.m. till about 11, either 10, 11, when the Captain Kangaroo go off, I forgot. It goes off, and then you don't watch no wrestling. You don't watch no damn wrestling. After that, you do your dusting around the house. You get this stuff called N-Dust, carcinogen, spray it everywhere. You breathe it all in, get the cancer going in your lungs. You clean up everything, go out and play with your friends. But then this wrestling thing took in. And I don't even know how it happened to me. I think just at some point in time, one of your friends said, hey, did you watch the Andre the Giant? He's 7 foot tall. He's a giant. You're like, giants? I got to see some giants. I got to watch the Giants. I'm not going to clean up yet, Mama. I'm going to watch the Giants first. And you watch Andre the Giant pick up grown men and throw them out the ring. You watch Mean Gene come in and slam. And then wrestling went from nobody watched it to the most dramatic, highly watched thing ever, you know, and I'm just like watching, and my brothers are watching, and my friends are watching, who beating up who, it's a fight, you know, and it's just like the fight, you know, like the 3 o'clock fights after school, 3 o'clock fights, your friends get together, the bell ring, you know, Tyrone and Bebop about to go out, and they gonna get it, the whole school, everybody surrounds them, get real tight, we get all tight so the teachers couldn't get it. We surround the fight. We didn't have no camera phones, nothing like that, but we get all tight so the teacher couldn't get in. You made it slow so they can get a good 3 minutes of tussling. They didn't tussle at first. First, they just talked crap and walked around in a circle for about 30 minutes. And then the fight was started. But everybody loved it. It was entertaining. So imagine this. We went from politics being the most something that nobody ever wanted to watch. We had nothing to do with it. You didn't do politics and nothing. You didn't have nothing to do with no damn politics. So they figured out how to put a little emotion in it. They figured out how to get a little passion in it. I mean, it's not like things have changed. We're still colonizing countries, destroying things, killing people, murdering, funneling weapons around the planet, as apparently we always have been. We're still genociding how we started the country. We haven't changed none of that. The world has disasters and famines, and none of that's gotten any better to me. What happened in the dark age still happening today. But the difference today is people like politics. Politics is like the #1 thing. And I think this is why.
On cable television. The digital age, which is only a few years old, the WWE has 25 million fans around the world. 25 million fans. They have a market cap of $6 billion, and they trade on the New York Stock Exchange for right around $75, $78, depending on the day. How did it get so big? How did professional wrestling become such a big part of our culture? It's simple. They don't make you think. It's not like a TED Talk. They make you feel.
They make you feel.
Okay.
Feel.
What does that have to do with the news media that we see today? What is with the news today? All of us are exposed to it, right? I mean, most of us, if you're like me at least, I'm kind of addicted to it, but I try as hard as I can not to watch it because it upsets me. And it wasn't until after I got out of the wrestling business and I retired that I realized that the news media and professional wrestling use much the same formula, and politicians as well. They don't want you to think, they want you to feel. And as long as you feel passionately one way or the other, business is good. And right now, business is very, very good. for the
Business
news media that covers
booming.
politics.
Booming.
Because of that. And what happened? It never used to be that way. Now, I'm 63 years old. I've been around for a little while, and I've always been interested in current events as I got older, politics, and I don't recall seeing it as bad as it is today. At least the news media back in the 60s and 70s and the 80s, at least they tried to pretend that they were objective. They tried to pretend at least, and most of them did a great job, they tried to pretend at least that there was an integrity within journalism and lines they wouldn't cross, things they wouldn't do. They would report both sides of the stories and let the audience or the reader decide how they felt about a given issue or personality or politician. But that's gone. And why is that? Why did that happen? It seems to me, at least, that it's really just begun happening over the last 10 years, 8 years, is when it's gotten really bad.
I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna let him, I want you to watch it, but here's the point, it's gotten really bad. Why? Well, there was a time, like you said, where, yeah, they used to tell both sides of the story. Then there was a time where they pretended to tell both sides of the story. But now they have so many people believing, so many people feeling. See, the problem is, I don't think you can build an empire on people that don't believe in you. I don't think you can build an empire. I don't think you can starve millions of people. I don't think you can support all the warlords of death and destruction that they do if people don't believe, if most people don't vote, and most people are sick of your profession. They don't like your lawyers, so they don't pay attention to lawyers. They don't like your politicians, so they avoid politics. But what happened is we went from having news where they felt that they even had to pretend to be impartial, to now where they completely don't. I mean, it's so bad that it's obvious that you have certain stations that you already know what they're going to say and their political stances based on where they reside. So it's not even just the journalists aren't telling, the whole entire station has totally thrown out their integrity. They've totally thrown out the illusion of pretending to have integrity because we still watch. And I use that term we as a collective. I don't mean me. I don't mean me. I can't stand it. Just the very letters ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, MSNBC. I don't even know what MSNBC is. I think that came along after I stopped watching. But just looking at their logos, it makes me physically sick. Y'all post it, and I'll try to watch a few seconds because I know you think what they're saying is important. I don't. But they became commentators, right? They're no longer reporters. They're not posting news. They're not journalists. They're commentators. It's easier to comment on the news, which is what I do. I do it in a different way, though. I just be like, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying. You're lying. Historically, that don't make a damn sense. That don't make no sense. I don't know what's true, but I know that you're lying. You know, and you're only telling part truth. This guy wrote a book, said this lady wrote a book. That's not true. You know, that's all I do. But again, this isn't my career. This isn't my job. I don't make any money doing this. Ain't no money in sitting here and trolling the lying media. I look at international news and show the contradictions. But the real news where people make real decisions to get out in the street, invoke that passion because of how it feels, to drive a world of fake mobocracy. That's what I was watching. I don't know who I was watching. Said, you know, we don't have a democracy anymore. We have a mobocracy. And that's not true. That's fake news because we have an oligarchy. But the real story is we actually have an oligarchy that's disguised as a mobarchy, right? So you have a mobarchy on the cover. It's like WWF in wrestling. Like on the cover, the mob thinks that they're doing something. They think that they're changing this. They think that they're fixing this. And the way it works is the mob, they always burn down their neighborhood. They always end up burning down the earth. They always end up burning the witch. And they ignore the witchcraft or the lying pharmaceutical industry that suck you on the witches. But they never fix anything. And this is what makes it so genius as a solution, because it's like wrestling. It invokes feeling. I remember, remember we was in school, we go to elementary school, we used to watch wrestling, we get to school, we used to act like the adults right now. We get to school, shoot, I was Junkyard Dog, my friend was Andre the Giant, somebody else was Hulk Hogan, and we begin at recess, the bell rang. We were in the rink, we began to pounce on each other. Not unlike people in the vendetteries right now. They can't wait. They're at work right now. I know you're at work right now. Write your notes down, watching your news, so you can go to lunchtime and argue and debate in mob style about what isn't going to change anything. It ain't going to change anything. But we have a mobocracy, but an oligarchy underneath. Why? Because the oligarchy makes money on rebuilding your neighborhoods after you burn them down. The oligarchy makes money on rebuilding nations after you burn them down, which can take us to Venezuela, but I don't want to go there. So I'll post a link. You can watch the whole thing. I want to touch on the shutdown for a minute. I saw something made me smile. I like this brother, Rick Sanchez. I didn't know why y'all didn't tell me about him earlier. This is actually starting to be fun. I think he's uncovering a few things. Let me see if I can find this right here. Let me see. There's a whole bunch of good stuff out there, but it's interesting. Does anybody find the shutdown just a little suspicious how quickly that mother came to an end? I mean, I remember, I don't know her name, what's her name, Elizabeth Warren or something? She was drinking beer on TV and Pelosi was talking trash and Trump got up on the edge of the ropes and said, did the WWF crap. And they were yelling at each other, and all of a sudden, the shutdown was over. I was like, wait a minute. Well, I'm like, because my friends who believe in both sides of this, they're still posting about how, we need our jobs back. 800,000 people died, starving. People just in the streets, we gonna lose our lives, and we don't know what the hell to do, and And the other side, we need the wall because of pedophilia, need this and that, and everybody's yelling, screaming, all the people on the sides of the mob acting a fool, going nutty and crazy, losing their damn mind, got the WWF drawers on, getting ready to jump off the top rope, and all of a sudden, the shutdown is over. Saw something I thought was suspicious. Look at this. Any side, whatever side you're on, I'm not your enemy. I don't believe in government anymore. I don't. I think that you're a sovereign human being. I think we need to evolve our model and we need to move forward. But you believe in government, so I'm right here. That's why I post stuff like you don't have a government and your government was shut down in 1933 and I think they planned it in 1913. However, there are two me's. I had explained to brother the other day. There are two me's. There's the me of how I feel as a sovereign, what I believe in a world model and moving forward and making human beings significant again in the model that drives the world, not just greed, money, banks, and oligarchy. But then there's a second me that has to talk government-ish. Right? Because most people still believe. If you don't talk government-ish, then people won't know what the hell you're talking about. Like Brother John, I think I said you saw Brother John. Brother John we got in a conversation earlier. He's like, we were watching a live stream. He's like, I can't watch this because they're talking about the political parties, right? And Brother John, he jumped off the live stream. I saw you, brother. He went to go polish his cannons. Brother John got his powder keg ready to go. That brother ready for revolution. But I've been seeing a lot of love in John. I've been watching your posts. You got a lot of love coming out now. Something changing in you, brother. But he said, I can't watch it. Well, for me, you gotta think about the audience in all of this, right? You gotta think about everybody's in a different place, right? I used to be gaslit as the lit is. I just open my eyes in the morning and gas just come out. You could light that stuff. That gas come out. You could just light the whoa, But everybody's in a different place, and I'm okay with everybody's solution. The people I agree with are the people who know that this can't continue, that this has to stop, right? And we have to talk with those people. We have to support those people. We don't have to like the decision, but we still should support it, right? Because the people who want to keep the system, they want to keep the wrestling matches going, they tend to run things. So anyway, I went off into a tangent. Let me show you this. Why did the shutdown end so quickly?
It's a breakthrough in the government shutdown that has lasted longer now than any other shutdown in our nation's history. And the reason for the shutdown, as you know, is the Trump administration's insistence on a $5 billion wall across the Mexican border, which Congress, now led by Democrats, says is completely unnecessary. That's the argument. NRS correspondent Michelle Greenstein joins us now with news that it certainly appears at least that
It's not an argument to me. It's a mobberment.
thousands of federal employees are going to be going back to work. Now, let's talk about causality, okay? There's been a lot of talk today about a lot of things. One, that the federal workers were starting to driving Uber because they weren't going to be showing up to work. Two, that there were threats that in places like New York, flights are going to be coming in extremely late, or they're going to have slowdowns because all the air traffic controllers were just crazy and they couldn't continue working for free anymore. And I think there was also some discussion about some even potential strikes that might be taking place, right?
Right. So
and those are the ground reasons that we've been looking at for what may have broken this thing, right?
surely, yeah. The Federal Aviation Administration delayed all flights coming into New York's LaGuardia Airport. We saw some delays in Newark and Philly as well. And the Union of Flight Attendants actually called for a general strike. And a lot of people, and this, this made big news in corporate media. A lot of people were saying, oh, this could be the tipping point for the partial government shutdown, that they really thought that this is what could end it.
However, we're gonna pause for a minute. So set the pitch up, set the stage. All right, argument gone too far. Mob on this side, mob on that side. Things are barreling out of control with the mobocracy, right? Because the mobocracy is on top of the oligarchy. And as long as the mobocracy is like burning down neighborhoods, not fixing anything, yelling and screaming at each other, smacking each other in the head, everybody's good in the oligarchy, right? Because they're making money. God forbid, little g God, God forbid the mobocracy get a little out of control and it affect the profits of the oligarchy. And when that happens, you will see the real world for a moment. You will see how things really work for a moment, because the big boss will step up and explain to the mobocracy, listen, actors, y'all getting out of control. Like, hey, whoa, WWF, hang on. Because every now and then the WWF, it get a little out of hand, and you start to look, wait a minute, they're not faking. They're really like, he didn't hit him with the chair, and he probably did the fake move, but he didn't turn fast enough, hit him with the chair, got some blood. Now you got this grown man that's actually pretty pissed off, that looks like he's kind of not holding back a little bit, because every now and then, real fights will break out. And when that happens, if it's affecting the ratings of the show, it's affecting the money that the oligarchs are making, you'll see him come forward. That's why I say always look between the cracks. I love this brother, Rick Sanchez, and this young lady. Let's look at this. Look at this.
I have been checking with some of my own sources, as you have, I understand. And I've noticed that some of the big Wall Street fat cats, the banks, the big banks, right, have over the last 24 hours started to insinuate that this shutdown was about to create huge problems for the U.S. economy. And they did not seem happy about it. In fact, in Davos, I've been watching the Davos coverage, every single big bank representative, Jamie Dimon on down, have been saying this can't continue and it has to stop, or at least insinuating that. And then, miraculously, within 24 hours, it stopped. It gives one pause.
Yeah.
Translation services. So Davos, those are the people that own you, okay? You don't have governance, you don't have governing. These are your owners, right? They own you. They own your cars, they own your houses, they own everything in your house, they own your land. And whenever they want to take it back, they'll take it back. These are the people that own the entire nation. So I say America ain't a country, it's a piece of land that they give this fake mobocracy and nation thing. The owners got upset. The owners realized, like the whole GDP thing, the U.S. economy, the economy, what is that? Those are farming profits, right? Because you're farming human beings. You got Democrats over here and Republicans over there and Christians over there and white folk over there and black folk over there. Whatever you think you are, they got you in a different farming fence. And they're making profits off of the farm, right? They're selling your meat and the eggs, the chicken, poultry, vegetables and everything. But when farm profits are affected because animals maybe are breaking out of their fences, maybe some of the fights are getting real, maybe one of the acting scripts went a little too far and actually shut down a government for a little too long, then you got to correct the farm. That's when the real boss shows up, not the fake ones. Congress.
I think that's exactly the right point to be making. Right now it's the 35th day, like you said, we have this temporary hold. But on the 33rd day of the government shutdown, like you said, you had Jamie Dimon calling for the immediate end. He said Democrats and Republicans should come together and make a compromise. He said that if this shutdown lasts the entire quarter, we could slow growth to zero. And we should also remember that anything that needs to be approved by the SEC is not going forward while the government is shut down. Now, today, going back to the aviation thing, because I do think this is interesting, an interesting point to make, who does interference in air travel affect? It's not most people. It's not so much that they cared about the workers, but this affects the business elites, right? The people that are flying in and out of New York's LaGuardia all the time. And so that is the kind of pressure that Congress is more inclined to respond to, not the 800,000 government workers, not the 4 million federal contractors that aren't receiving back pay at all. So I think that's definitely...
Are you trying to say that Congress doesn't appreciate the 800,000 people that weren't getting income? They didn't give two dams? They only gave a damn when flights aren't making into New York City, where the owners are? You mean that, you know what, anything else happened in that city that was suspect, I don't know, in the last 20 years? When was 9/11? Where someone tried to send a statement to the owners of America that were colonizing the entire damn earth to leave them the hell alone? It's interesting, because it's funny, because I see all your posts and I smile and I think, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that you think that Trump is really worried about a wall that Hillary Clinton wanted to build and Barack Obama wanted to fund and Bush wanted to roll troops down to the border and Obama deported more people than, but now Trump doesn't like the immigrants and Trump wants a wall and they like the immigrants and they don't want the wall, and that's real. But then within 24 hours, all of that crying, yelling, and screaming and mobism and posts and anger and hate, within 24 hours of Jamie Dimon saying, stop, everything stops. I love it. I love it. If you actually pay attention to this stuff.
A factor that we need to look at.
When I was listening, though, to the conversations that were coming out of Davos yesterday, I
got kids running around, no diapers, just doo-doo everywhere because parents can't afford the diapers, peeing everywhere. People can't afford money, starting to steal, go back, driving Uber, taking jobs from them, and they ain't get two dams. They ain't get two dams for how long? Been a couple weeks now, a couple months. How long the shutdown been going on? They could care less. Invasion coming for the wall, invasion, people jumping over the wall and acting a fool, and they ain't get two dams. But all of a sudden, tear gas just spraying on people, all on the news. I watch a post, I try to pay attention. All of a sudden, Jamie Dimon says, stop. And in 24 hours, it stops.
I repeatedly heard that numbers would be affected this month if we didn't stop it.
Absolutely.
And I don't recall now to which specific numbers they were talking about. I don't know if it was a specific tally of growth numbers or employment numbers, or I think it's spending numbers, something maybe to do with GDP.
Right,
but I think they looked at those and they were seeing a trend going down. They were very concerned about that.
Absolutely. And like I said, Jamie Dimon said that if this continued throughout the quarter, growth could slow to zero. But another contributing factor is the federal funds rate, which is set by the Federal Reserve. This is the interest rate at which banks can loan money overnight to other banks, and this affects all of us. Then banks then loan money to small businesses, and then it reaches us.
That's fascinating, because
that's fascinating, right? Because I said, let's clarify, it's not the Federal Reserve, it's the unfederal reserve. We got to say it right. They are not an American company. They're not a federal company. They're a private business owned by private bankers. It's unfederal reserve. They call it Federal Reserve because it fools you. Doesn't fool me. I got enough smart friends that have talked to me about this. So after it affects the loan rates going out, you know what the loans are from the Federal Reserve to the big banks, the little banks down to you and the businesses that, oh, we need this or we're going to dry up. That's all that money that you won't ever be able to pay back. That's that money that your kids will own 150% interest on the loan that the Federal Reserve will never and has never printed enough money in circulation so that you could ever pay it back. So because America stopped going into debt to the Federal Reserve, the big banker billionaires, whatever you want to call them, whether it's Zionists or whatever else, I don't know what it is. Whenever that their bottom line's affected, that's an issue. That's an issue. Your little shutdown thing has got to come to an end. This is why I'm saying people, they get lost in these spaces and they think that presidents run this crap, and they don't. Because when the big dog shows up, all the little dogs show the neck. When a director comes on stage, the actors stop acting and they start listening.
And we can't jump to any conclusions, but we can make a fair analysis. Go ahead.
What we can say is that this is based on data, a lot of which the Federal Reserve receives from government entities like the BLS, like the Agriculture Department, housing numbers, job reports. So this is data that they haven't been able to get, and these are the details that are usually provided to the Federal Reserve. So while we're in the shutdown, they have incomplete numbers.
Conclusion is it may not be that our government officials were very concerned about poor people and federal workers not working as much as they were about something else, and we're out of time.
All right.
The government's not worried about poor
thanks for checking out
people.
our
Why the government not worried about poor people? The poor people damn sure think the government worried about them. So I found that to be interesting. I find it highly interesting that the shutdown that everybody was so worried about came to an immediate end when people on Wall Street and banks said it's over. They ain't listened. They didn't listen to you. You know, but you know what? You know what you'll do? You'll go out and vote for them, won't you? You'll go out and vote for them. So anyway, I'm gonna look at some comments. I want to go touch on Venezuela too, because everybody's lining up on Venezuela now. Now, apparently, and I appreciate Russia stepping up, which was the shutdown a false flag? Well, I don't know. You know, I think that everything is used as a false flag in that way, right? Because anything that drives the mob is false flag-ish, right? Like everything that gets your panties in a bunch, get your diaper full of some poo and some pee, and get your drawers all up your butt and get your wedgie and stuff. Anything that gets you upset is used false flag-ish. Because anything you can do to get the wrestlers to focus on each other, wrestle in the ring and get the crowd going is a great thing for the oligarchy, because that's how they make money, on you not watching. So I think the wall shutdown thing, I think it just went too far. I think that it hit their profits and they saw we're going to lose money. We got to pull the actors back, and they pulled them back. They don't need our consent to poison the air, the food, and the water. No, Mary, they don't. You know what I think on the consent thing? We give them our consent. Why? Because most people are still voting. Most people are still watching. Most people are still posting. Most people got the 2020s. So we give our consent. Do they need our consent anymore? I don't know. That's up to y'all to figure out. In my personal perspective, if I had tanks and drones and militaries and robots and 5Gs and chemtrails and geoengineering, and I was poisoning your food, you were eating my pesticides, drinking all the chemicals that I put out there, you're consenting to my arrest, and you got mass incarceration, you're loving my wars and my genocide, you're debating over which wars and genocide are the least of the evils, I don't care about your consent. I wouldn't. Now, maybe the majority of y'all stand up until I got the killer robots. I may not have all them online. Once I got all them online, I don't give two damns about your consent. But I think for the moment, consent is important because we still consent. We don't even know if our consent is valid because most people give it. Damn, we are doing good with the shutdown. Yeah, Daniel, they're doing good with the shutdown till the big boss showed up. Oh, how the satanic love numbers. Yes, they do. Ellen, they weren't getting their statistics, so they told you, dummies, we're going to end the shutdown. And so your actors ended the shutdown and things started right back up to make the money. So how do we avoid the distraction that passes from the daily news? Unplug from the manufactured consent. Absolutely, unplug consent in every way. And there's the legal aspect that a lot of my friends talk about, but then there's also the physical, daily voting with your consent. You tune in. They're watching the numbers. They know how many people watch Fox News. They know how many people watch CNN. They know how many people watch MSNBC. They know how many times you share the post. They know how many times you like the post. They know how many times you look at the post. And they go based on that. As long as the population is believing all of that's consent, that means they're going to keep steaming ahead with owning you and owning the next generation. Other thing I wanted to look at, I found to be interesting, is everybody's lining up on who supports who in Venezuela. I do appreciate Russia coming forward and trolling America as usual, because it's not actually America, it's just an oligarchical structure. And I'm not even sure if Russia's really in opposition to anything. I just think that this could be a part of mob mentality, but I find it interesting that things are lining up. I think everything is like controlled chaos, right? Where's the map? I go to the map and we'll let him talk through it. But everything is controlled chaos, right? The mob in the red is for flipping Venezuela over to Don Guaido. I'm gonna say it right. I'm not going to say the way Pompeo said it. Did y'all hear it the way Pompeo said it? Did y'all hear how Pompeo said Juan Guaido? Did y'all not pay? Not, you know what? Maybe I'm going to show you that. And anyway, but the nations in the green are for Maduro. Hang on, I gotta show you this. I gotta show you something real quick. So let me tell you a story. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, when I worked for, who did I work for? Telemarketing company. I did operations stuff in telemarketing company back in the computer room. The boss had a party. Let me see if Todd is here. That brother here, Todd, Crystal, I got a few of my friends I used to work with, they're here. They remember this day. So we went to go watch the Coliseum games. Yes, we went to go watch the football. I don't know if it was it wasn't the Super Bowl. It was one of the games lining up to the Coliseum game of football, which is another mobism. It's another support of this mob mentality. I go to the parties. I didn't really watch the games, but it's my boss, man. It's what you do when the plantation, when one of the big bosses, the line bosses on the plantation, has come to my house for a party, the slaves put down your bags, you go to the house for the party. That's what I did. And I don't know who was playing. I don't know what's happening. All I know was mob time was going. You had this side and that side yelling and screaming. People get excited, drinking beer. They forget. And the words that they usually use in regular language that they don't put on the filters because they don't see black people or any people around come out their mouth. So it just so happens, I got to pull this up. I got to pull this up because this is fun for me. I love it. It just so happens that a brown guy, I guess he had the football, and I don't know, he was running with the football. And one of the programmers who was just a little bit into the game, just a little bit too much into the game, jumped up and said, "That's the way you tackle that nerve." And I was sitting there, so it was me, and it was another brown dude guy named Todd, and it was everybody else. It was a program, they're like, oh Lord, everybody's faces, eyes opened up. The boss, he done got out the sofa and started backing up like, oh, it's gonna be a fight. Because everybody was excited, right? You're going crazy, people throwing popcorn, having fun, all that. Like, that's the way you tackle that. Sorry, here's my point. So nothing happened. Todd is a real cool, calm brother. So am I. In fact, Todd is a minister now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't trip about words like that, right? I used to get on the bus going to school, and by the time I got to the back seat on the bus, I done got called nigga about 57 times. All my friends, I get on the bus there, nigga, what? Nigga, what? You know, my white friends, my black friends, my Chinese friends, my Spanish friends, and then you sit down, right? So those words don't bother me. I don't care nothing about that. That's stupid. That's dumb. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't worry about that. Uh-oh. I got excited. Something slipped out of my mouth. I'm sorry. So anyway, Pompeo was talking. But what that was, it was an indicator how people really talk when they get excited, when, you know, because they put the filters on, and when they get excited, the real words want to come out their mouth. I don't want Venezuelans to be fooled. Please do not be fooled by America. Please don't be fooled that Pompeo gives a damn about you. He's CIA. Okay, they topple nations, they get people murdered for coltan and oil and power and control, colonization. Please don't be fooled. Trump is being told what to do, just the same way Obama was being told what to do. They're put in the ring, they're supposed to fight each other, oligarchs run all this. Venezuelans who are on the side of America coming in, please don't be fooled that these people give a damn about you, because when you're not listening, this is what they say about you.
I'm Rick Sanchez. There are signs today that the U.S. intervention in Venezuela may not be working, at least not the way that the United States had intended. And it may have something to do with Russia and, to a certain extent, China pushing back throughout the day and part of last night. But you know what may even be a bigger problem for the United States and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who spoke just moments ago about Venezuela? Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who spoke moments ago about Venezuela. What do I mean? Well, during a news conference, Mr. Pompeo made mention of the man that Washington has now recognized as the new interim president of Venezuela. Again, this is the guy that Washington, the United States, has decided to position as the interim president of Venezuela. His name, as you probably have heard, because we've been talking about him all week, his name is Juan Guaido. Juan Guaido.
Guaido.
Here is what the Secretary of State of the United States called him just a little while ago.
It's not funny. Stop laughing.
We'll have announcements from other places later today talking about how it is that we anticipate the interim President Juan Guaido will have the resources he needs to lead the interim President Juan Guaido will have the resources he needs to anticipate the interim President Juan Guaido will have the resources he needs to lead the anticipate
One more time.
the interim President Juan Guaido will have the resources he needs to lead the government of Venezuela forward.
Guido.
I'm sorry.
He called him Guido.
Did y'all think he loved y'all?
His name is Guaido, not Guido.
He knows what his
You know
name
what
is.
Guido is, according to any search. Guido is a derogatory term usually used to refer negatively to a stereotype of dark-skinned, dark-haired men, usually of Italian descent.
And if you use it all the time, when nobody's watching, every now and then you slip up and say what you really think. You get excited. I don't know, the lights and the cameras, everything going on. You think about that cold tan, getting excited. Think about all that. Oh, woo, raising gas prices, make a lot of money, CIA. Get all excited. Damn it, you know how many drones we can make to kill Americans with that cold tan? How many people in the desert we can kill? How many Arabs with that cold tan? Get all excited. Yeah, we gonna go to Venezuela. We gonna topple the government, get thousands of people murdered. Yay! Millions even. Get all Pompeo, get all excited like a football game because the mob is going on either side and get excited. And all of a sudden he jumps up and says, "That's we got on, greet on." So you know what's interesting about this though is right now in Venezuela, nobody's in the streets. Nobody's in the streets. Makes you wonder were the Venezuelans listening. People on the ground say that people are just in the street because they're hungry. They're tired of prices. They don't want America toppling their government. Sometimes you get fooled and discombobulated and you do something that the American government can take to colonize a new world order globalist under every presidential administration. And they'll try to take it and they'll make it seem as though you want your government flipped, when really the people just want Maduro to fix the things that he jacked up. And so nobody's in the street. The weekend is quiet in Venezuela. Where's this brother? I had a brother on the ground kind of explaining how quiet it is in Venezuela, you know, because you slipped up during the football game. And you called one of your slaves the name that you call them when they're not around. You spoke true of what happens on the golf course and the places that you hang out when you talk about what countries you want to destroy for minerals. And he slipped up and said it. I found that to be interesting. Where's the brother at? Venezuela is quiet. I think the U.S. plot to destroy them is being uncovered.
From the national headquarters of RT Ameirca in our nation.
Let me show you this. This is a brother that's here on the ground, kind of explaining how quiet things are.
And so rejection and confusion of how this previously unknown figure who was just elected by the National Assembly on the 5th of January and was unknown to the country beforehand, who won 97,000 votes in 2015 but has not otherwise won an election, is now the president of the country. And you know, these people, the Chavistas, this large block of the population obviously rejects Guaido and his pronouncement. It's important to note that after his announcement, Guaido literally disappeared and was not seen in public until today when he's giving his press conference now, which is a strange behavior for someone who is now supposedly the president of the country.
Oh, it's not a strange behavior at all, because after the programmer called me N-word, I didn't go to work on Sunday. I went back to work on Monday. This is why it's important to me. I find it interesting. I think if you look between the cracks, it all slips through. When people get emotional, they say the things that they really mean. They say the things that they really say behind their back. when y'all go to work and you talk bad about your wife, talk bad about your husband, call them all kind of bastards and lazy and this, that, and the other, and you get upset at home, and that passion kicks in because you got that feeling, that mob mentality, that WWF feeling. You slip up and say what you really mean. Maybe you married the wrong person. I don't know. All right, let me look at comments. I find it interesting. I find it interesting that if you read between the cracks, it was, oh, no, I didn't show you what I want to show you. I'm sorry. I'd stop real quick. We didn't see who's on the sides of the mob. Everybody's lining up on different sides of the invasion. Who is for Juan Guaido and who is for Maduro, as if we get to determine and tell other people how they're supposed to run their own government. But I think the Venezuelans, I think they realized it. I think that for a moment they paused. He said Guido, and they got it. They got it. Okay, that's what we are to you. Yeah. And then they remembered the economic hitman book, and they remembered Brother John, his book, and I think that they thought about it for a minute. Wait a minute. Whoa. How did that democracy thing go in Syria? How did that democracy thing go in Iraq? How did that democracy thing go all over Africa? We done brought democracy, and all we do is just destroy nations. I think Venezuelans stopped and they thought about it for a minute. Do we want a destruction type of democracy all over the planet? Here's the thing for Venezuelans. I want y'all to think about this. I want everybody to think about it, actually. Everybody. If you want to open, let's say, a McDonald's, do you, and don't open no McDonald's, don't do that. We got enough sick people, don't do that. But if you did, now let's say Salad Works. You want to open a Salad Works. Let's be relatively a health care conscience, unlike 5G. I hope y'all saw the 5G video from this weekend. Do you go to someone that's failing at Salad Works? Like, do you go to a Salad Works? Hey, Margie, you got your friend Margie. Hey, Margie, I heard you got this Salad Works thing, girl. How's it going? Oh, we ain't making no money. We failing with things just falling apart. The staff keep walking out. Nobody likes it. But every now and then we might sell a piece of salad, a crouton or something, but we're not doing good at all. Oh, you are? Okay, Margie, I want to open one up. Can you tell me how to run a Salad Works? Would you do that? Like, would you go to somebody failing at something miserably and ask them, how can you fail like them? This is how you need to view world governments, right? Societies, right? If you are if you're discussing a new society model for Venezuela, do you go to a nation that seems to have an empire infection of killing people? Do you go to a nation that has one of the highest suicide rates in the world? Do you go to a nation where parts of its population are starving? Whatever reason. Do you go to a nation that the people are so starved and disgusted that they have mass incarceration to put people in prison because they can't even get the drugs and medicine and natural things that they need to? Where people got to steal, kill, rob, and destroy? Do you go to a nation that's divided down the middle? Do you go to a nation that doesn't respect its Constitution or Bill of Rights? Or do you go to a nation with a failing education system and say, hey, guys, how do we put together a nation? Can you help us? Only if you want a society that's gonna collapse. Only. Like if you want to fix something, go to somebody that's successful at fixing it. You don't go to somebody who's failing. Americans are not happy. Americans are angry out their damn minds. Mobs all in the street everywhere. But just Venezuelans, think about that. Everybody think about that for a minute. If you want to build a better world, do you go back to an old failed model? You know, I got my friends still talking about capitalism and communism and socialism. It never worked anywhere. None of it, everywhere, anywhere. Because you always got the cronyism. None of that ever worked. Do you go back to a failing system, something that's never worked ever, and try again? Try again and keep? No, you don't. You do something different. You do something different. That's why I'm all on the different model for the world kick. I'm not interested in your models. But Venezuela, don't go to a failing society and ask for the help. And they try to come in, damn it, you run to Russia, run to China, run to somebody for some help.
Is a global network. RT Ameirca, we consider ourselves to have that responsibility, and it's a responsibility that we take very seriously on this newscast. That's why what I want to do now is I want to show you a running scorecard, right? And it changes of how the world is actually divvying up right now on the question of Venezuela. It does seem that the pressure applied yesterday by superpowers like Russia especially, and China to some extent, on the U.S. had an effect on this story. But there's also Mexico, for example, that is also not accepting this call. So let's go to the map. Here it is. We've got the map of the world behind me, and I want to take you through it as best I can. All the countries that you see right there in red, see the countries in red? They're essentially saying yes. Yes to the U.S. call to recognize Juan Guaidó. And as you can see, it consists of many of the United States, traditional allies. As you're going to see, the British in Europe and Spain and France and Germany. And then if we go over here to Latin America, you're also going to see, countries like, Brazil and Argentina. Most of the countries in the OAS, the Organization of American States,
sellouts.
And then countries in the Lima Accord like Colombia and Costa Rica.
The sellout governments that America already put in place.
The countries that we've put here that you can see in green, so look at all the green on this map. Everything that you see here on the green in this map are countries that are not following the U.S. lead. That means they're either backing Maduro or they simply don't want to engage. They're saying, no, we're staying out of the affairs of Venezuela. Key in these, of course, Russia, and then China, and then as we go across, you're going to see that you're going to see Iran, and you're going to see Turkey, and you're going to see Syria as well. And then over here in the Americas, Mexico, interestingly enough, is staying out of the fray. Cuba, as you would expect, is going to be backing Maduro. Uruguay is also not backing the United States.
All right, I'm not going to let him go through the whole list. To me, it's crazy, it's nonsense, this idea that you can tell us somebody else how they're going to live, how they're going to be, that they're not sovereign, that you dictate what happens in their country is insanity. It's New World Order, it's globalish. I agree with Sister Deborah. That's actually what I was going to do, Deborah. I was going to put a little green dot on me. Let me see if I can go up a little bit. I was going to put a green dot right on my head because I'm not a part of this. Can I reach it? Right about here. There needs to be a green dot right there. Because it's funny, like how they portray it, that the owners of the countries dictate what the people in them actually believe in. It's not true. I guarantee you the majority of Brazil wants nothing to do with this. I guarantee you the majority of the United States wouldn't. The majority of the United States doesn't even vote. Majority of Canada, everybody knows what this is all about. This is big banks, big business in Wall Street going to murder people and topple governments. But you can put a green dot right here, right about there, right where my bald brown head is at. Because I'm not a part of this. I am not a part of this in any one shape. I wasn't a part when Obama did it. I'm not a part when Trump did it because Trump and Obama aren't doing it. It's just the WWF. They're the actors behind all of this nonsense. I'm not a part of any of this. But the map is interesting. I don't believe in your nations. I don't believe in ownership. None of y'all own me. That's just where I get off. Let me look at some comments and I'm gonna get out of here. Woo, that was fun. That was fun. You gotta go back and watch the beginning. That was a bombshell. When he linked WWF to the mainstream media today and to the Democrats and the Republicans, I just saw everything. Now, you know what? Every time y'all start posting, I'm gonna start seeing y'all on the ropes, just up there yelling and screaming, and some tighties, the red drawers, they get there yelling. If you're gonna do that, Mean Gene, I'm gonna. I can't remember half the dumb stuff they used to say. All right. Let's get serious for him. Let me see. You just got an A, it not to occur to my mixed race teams. Wait a minute. You just got an A, it not it according to my mixed race teams. I got an A. I'm not even sure, Georgia, but all of that you had threw a couple extra words in there. I'm not sure. I hope I got an A. I'm trying to get an A. I just think that we're stupid. We're stupid. We got to stop playing. I think we got to grow up. Thug life. Yes, Alan, the biggest thugs on the planet are the U.S. Pentagon. No question. It's the power of the people through social media that is disrupting the old style empire, World Bank BS. Yes, Linda, it is. And people have to keep posting. You got to keep sharing. You got to keep going at it. You got to go at it. Because that's the only real fight. There's no fight between Andre the Giant on the Democrats and Junkyard Dog on the Republicans. That's not a real fight. That's a fake fight. That's a phony fight. That chair is not made out of metal. That chair is made out of styrofoam. Okay? And it's painted to look like metal. It's not a real fight. The only real fight is between what is true and what is false. And unfortunately, we still have too many adults that are lost up in fantasy wrestling. I quit the footsie sport back in 05. After my divorce, I saw it was a money-making enterprise that didn't have to pay taxes, and that, oh, they don't pay taxes, and that was the best diversion for the sheep people. And at worst, another divisive thing to keep people that relate to the different teams saying we are the best. Yes, Deborah, that's what it is. That's what it is, Deborah. I got in trouble a while ago. I made a post, and I said I don't believe in team sports. Oh, they came after me. They was upset with me. Because I said, I think team sports reinforces that teamism in kids. It reinforces tribalism in children. It gets them to my team. But why is it your team? It's my team. But why? Because I was my jersey, I live in the state, because I was born, but why is it your team? Can you give me anything that's logical? I mean, do you like the mascot? Why is it your Ameirca when a damn sure ain't your Ameirca is owned by oligarchs and banks? But why is it yours? Why are you cheering? It's because I think right, exactly. It's not your team. You were born there. And somebody done got you at just a silly, passionate, feeling moment and got you to embrace this idea of nations because they want to own you. And now they own you. Like, to me, I'm sorry, I know I get in trouble when I say it, but I think of the flag differently now. I do. I see the flag. I don't see it the same way I used to when I was a kid. I see the flag now. You know what I see? I just see Andre the Giant's face on some drawers and underwear. That's all I see. That's all I see. One more time, y'all on the... All right, let me see if I missed any comments over there, over here. I've decided I'm the new president of the United States. If they can do it, so can I. Yeah, they can. I mean, Russia could come out and say, Hillary Clinton's the president. You know, and topple things. Like, it's just crazy. Everything is bass backwards. Yes, it is. Everything is bass backwards, Ty. Daniel, what's wrong with you? Smoke Gouda. No, that's not his name. Two-paid, he didn't say Mussolini. Oh, two-paid, he didn't say Mussolini. Mary, you got me there. His maid, oh yeah, well, Alan, you touching on something, talking about his maid is a Guido. Yeah, don't touch on that, because that's part, see, that's why I don't believe in it, because part of the reason is most of these people who say they don't want immigrants coming in, they got all immigrants slaving on their plantations. They play this game on both sides, and I'm not interested in it. Let me see. I got to get past that. That's racist, y'all. Stop. I ought to go down. Some people might be sensitive about that. I don't know. He needs to make a green dot on the top of my head. Deborah, I agree with you. Majority of the U.S. doesn't support the U.S. No, Mary, it doesn't. That's why Venezuela and nobody else should believe in the democracy that's run here. It's not a democracy. It's a mobocracy. It's sad how many of my friends support U.S. actions in Venezuela only because socialism bad. Well, you know, Yvonne, actually, that would make a good meme. That actually would make a good meme. Socialism bad. You know, well, you know what? I don't think it's socialism, Yvonne. I just think it's feelings. I think it's what the guy was saying in the TED Talk. I got to post a link. It's just feelings. It has nothing to do with socialism. It's just feelings, right? It's just people, they get excited and they put their hope in politicians. They put their hope in their leaders. And their leader says it, and they're scared to call it out. Like, I still have friends who are posting 100% Bernocrat, 100% Trump. And I'm just like, man, y'all know we all gonna die, right? Y'all focus on that at all? And it's bad. It's like, you know, socialism isn't bad. Capitalism isn't bad. Communism isn't bad. They're all just tools. They're systems that aren't perfect. They got some fixes that are needed. They might do well if you don't have a cronyism running the world, but I think if you took the good things, the things that they all did good and made a new system, we might actually have something. But you know, people they once they're on that team, you know how it goes, Ivana. Once they're on that team, they got the jersey, they done subscribed and they bought into it. They're gonna run with that team because scared people need allies. Scared people, they need a group, they need a clique. You know, it's usually the strong people that don't need to be in a group. They don't need to group up with other people and let other people drive how they thought. They don't need groupthink. They're malevolent beings working through us by proxies. Ty, stop it. Stop it, Ty. You know, get me into K-Pax aliens. If y'all didn't watch K-Pax, you still need to watch K-Pax. I was telling somebody about that this week. K-Pax. I have my flag upside down. We're in distress. Linda, we should have had, there shouldn't have been a right side flag since 1913. Damn sure not since 1933. There shouldn't be no upside. All the flags should be upside down. We are country down, hard down. And we need to stop pretending that we have a democracy. We don't. What 5G? Oh, Anna, I posted a 5G video. I did a video this weekend. It was, I forgot her name. Somebody say the name of the doctor. Doctor came through. She did a testimony on 5G. She did a test. Actually, the funny thing is she did a testimony on 4G and the damage that there is evidence, and they've always had the evidence for a while now, that it causes cancer. It causes all types of neurological disorders. And you know, it was interesting. I posted the video because she did a testimony to the politicians and explained the how it's related to the healthcare debate, right? Like the cost of healthcare. You know, when you roll out 5G, you're going to see a spike in cancer. You're going to see a spike in mental illness. You're going to see a spike in a lot of other things. And it was interesting because I thought it was a very methodical, chess-like, not checkers move to bring in people who are fighting for healthcare into the conversation. Like people who are fighting for single payer and stuff like that. They need to focus on 5G, because if your problem is healthcare, you want to get your drugs and your drugs to be cheap, better focus on what's going to happen to the cost of healthcare with your government rolling out one of the biggest experiments that's ever been done on the population since the beginning of the human race. Let me see. Why we always got our nose in everybody else's GD business. It's not for humanitarian reasons. That's for damn sure. No, Georgia, never it is. It's always for money. So they lot money. It's always for money. It's always big money. That's why I don't play with it. But adults, they're into this identity thing. They're into the mobism. That's why we're a mobocracy. People, they attach feelings to these things. And once people have feelings, a lot of these adults, it's too late. Just like love. Once that thing, once it sets in, it'll take away all your common sense. Let me see. I see the corporate flag. That's what I see, Mary. I see a corporate flag, but some people see patriotism when they see the flag. I don't understand that, but that's what they see. Isn't that where most of the mob comes from? Well, I think, yeah, most of the mob, it comes from television. It comes from feelings. It comes from passion. They give people things to be scared of. They make people fearful, you know. And then once they tap into your feelings, that hate or that love for something, they got you. Farmers desperate. Uh-oh, I lost that one. I go down and see that one. A couple more comments. I'm gonna go. DC is not a part of the United States. No, it's not, Christine Laws. DC is an international, it's its own little nation, colonized, sellout, plantation house thing. That's all it is. Now, definitely it's not, well, it's not a state. You know, I think it's just the headquarters of what was set up to rule and own the Americans. I'm saying that because how he thinks, not me. Oh, Alan, what you say? Just a couple comments above that. I see Israel on the American flag. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a big question that nobody can explain. America always does everything Israel tells them to do. You can keep debating about it if you want. But I think when your presidents roll over and the big dog tells them what to do and they do it, then it should be obvious that presidents don't control these things. Emotionalism, yes, Jeannie, it's emotional. Emotionalism drives the mobocracy. And as long as the mobocracy has these deep feeling emotions as adults, we can't talk about the oligarchy. We can't talk about real solutions because they're still acting like it's a democracy. They still want to go vote. So this is where we are. That's why I say get in touch with your inner wave energy. Get in touch with your soul. We may not make this one. We might have to wait for the next round of evolution before we actually get to stay. You know, these people are willing to destroy the whole planet for the mob. you know, and they don't seem to understand it. K-Pax was a great movie, yes, Brother Daniel, and I think it explained how a lot of this works. If we're energy and everything else is energy and somebody has more control over that energy, great movie. I don't want to spoil alert it for you guys. You should be flying the civil flag, the flag of the people, not the flag that represents martial law and the suspension of the Constitution and the rights of the people. Let me see. That's all that flag represents. Research it. The civil flag, U.S. I think I know what you're talking about, Brother John. I'm talking about the flag without the gold crest around the outside, something like that. I looked at that for a minute. We should make a flag for any human, but not as a globalist control flag. That will surely come if things keep going the way it is. That makes sense, Ty. It makes sense. We need, yeah, Brother Jack, like a peacetime flag, something that could represent all human life. That's interesting. That's interesting. I would imagine somebody already has that out there. I mean, being a humanist, being a global citizen, not a citizen that of New World Order globalism, but a human being believing in the planet and believing in each other, that we shouldn't be killing each other. We should have a flag for that. We absolutely should. I think somebody already probably made one. I know they got a space flag. I forgot the name of them. There's a group, they have a flag for space where they're a part of a space nation. I won't get into that. Because eventually they all get co-opted. Yes, all the mobs always get co-opted, Ty. I think that, I mean, we do have to figure out a way to get people to think more as human beings and less as mobs. I don't really know that I know how to do that. I think a flag could help that. I have my flag, okay, U.S. flag is the Jolly Roger pirate flag. Ooh, Christine, go on. Well, who's not though, right? Like, all nations are pirates. All nations, they created their nations on piracy, right? They all created their nations on robbing people, murdering them, and raping their women. And then the next generation embraces the psychopath's construction. So I think all nations' flags really are the Jolly Roger. They just got the pretty colors. And people like the pretty colors, and they believe that that's what they are. And I just think everybody's greater than what these killers set up. That's all. Many of my friends are on the 2020 bag already. How do I deal with them for the next 2 years? Ivana, lots of drugs, alcohol. I don't know. You got to find a love, Ivana. You got to find, like, if you like golfing or something, hiking, some bonsai or something. You got to tune into that. You can't just stay here. It's like, it's funny. People are like, we got to get off of Facebook. We got to get out of here. Drive me crazy. It doesn't drive me crazy because half the time I'm doing stuff. Like, I was out this weekend, I was moving center blocks. I had a couple hundred center blocks I had to move. And I was actually posting commentary between moving. I'd move a couple blocks or whatever, and I'd post, you know, because I was helping a friend with some things. I'm living my life like it looks like I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm not. I'm doing things, but in between, I have a crazy thought. I look at a center block, and it kind of looks like Trump's blockhead. I'm like planting something, and I see a pile of mud, some goo on the ground, some manure, and it kind of looks like Obama a little bit. Oh, I have a thought. I'm gonna post something. I go, I post something, and I keep going. I think that you have to carve out, you know, your own way to be sustainable. Like, I think we have to keep trying to wake people up, but you got to find your happiness in this life. You got to find your happiness, and you can't, like, buy into the drama and the nonsense. I think also you got to make friends. It's like we said about before. You should have 5,000 friends, people. If you don't have 5,000 friends on Facebook, something is wrong. YouTube, you should be subscribed to a bunch of different channels, not just mob politicalism nonsense, but things that you like to do. You have to be happy with however this goes. That's how I think. That's how I think about it. If you're happy with however this goes, that if we all just go extinct because we shouldn't be here, or if we actually build a new world and build something better for the kids, I'm good with it either way. I see positives all over. Like, I think we are a cancerous virus. It's like I talked about America and Venezuela. You know, if we have the highest suicide rate because citizens hate living here, you know, 22 soldiers a day commit suicide because they hate what our government is always up to. We damn sure shouldn't be telling you how to run your country. You shouldn't be coming to us for advice for anything other than murder people and make citizens into massive depression, mental illness creatures, and have an autism apocalypse. You know, we got it right if you want that. So I kind of think that right now we are a cancer. We're a virus. We struggle with being sentient. We're okay with murdering kids and genocide. And as long as that's the case, I'd rather we go extinct. I do. Sounds bad, I guess, to some people. To me, it doesn't. I believe I'm a part of the universe, y'all. I think I'm a part of Earth and Gaia, and I'll be a part of whatever gets built next. But I think if you can murder a 5-year-old by starving them, Bernie Sanders, and Democrat Party, Barack Obama, Trump, and everybody else, if you can murder children, I think we should go extinct. I don't think we should be here. You know, and if we can wake up and we can build a better world and we can feed people, listen to Nostradamus, that great horrible times are coming where people are going to be starving so bad that they're eating children. They're taking babies out of mom's hands to eat children. And we've done this before. People are like, that sounds crazy. First of all, a lot of what Nostradamus said was true and came true. But not only that, we used to do it in the past. Cannibalism was a thing on every single continent. You know, and I just think it's crazy that we live in a time where we can feed everybody. Everybody. We can feed everybody anytime we choose. We can roll out automated solutions and prevent the dark ages from coming back that dark. But we don't. And if we don't love kids that much, then yeah, I don't think we should exist. But that's just me. Listen, it's Monday. Happy Monday. I got to get out of here. We got a last comment so I can go. We are the patterns. We are. The patterns are stitched in everything. Yes, we are, and they are. We are all one. We're all united. No question. Yes, hydroponics. Exactly, Lyndon. That was the point. It's hydroponics and aquaponics. Vertical gardening in the state of Vermont alone can feed the entire world. I think it can feed 10 billion. You know, and one billionaire can set that up. It doesn't cost a lot to do it, but they don't do it. I was roofing at 68. All right, brother Gus, and that's because you're eating healthy. A lot of people at 32 can't even get out of bed in the morning. Civil flag as blue stars and white background. Okay, I've never seen it, Linda. I probably saw it a long time ago. I love your alien pic. Yes! You like that alien pic, Anna? I'm going to show you that and then we'll get out of here. That's what... I liked it too. I don't know who I stole it from. I steal stuff, yeah. I steal. I'm sorry, I do sometimes. Sometimes you got to steal. Here it go right here. I'm going to show y'all this and I'm going to leave out on this. This is the picture. This is... when you're done with humans and just want to be yourself. It's the alien just laid out on the couch. And that's kind of me. I don't really believe in a lot of this stuff. I don't let stuff get to me. And when I'm done with people and their little silly posts and their nonsense, I feel like I just want to stretch out on my sofa, believe in aliens, watch anything that's even slightly more important than the nonsense we got going. But you got to find sustainability in nonsense. We are in some sort of a crazy apocalypse. And the only way it's sustainable is you find peace. Which is how the way the world is. The world is jacked up. But we got to be honest about it. So anyway, listen, this is Gerard. Happy Monday. Got to get out of here. Love y'all to death. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.